What's the content for tonight? I was sent this by a viewer. A viewer made this, and you know my rule. If a viewer makes a tier list, I'll do it. If I want to. And if it's about Age of Sigmar, I'd probably want to. I have amended the tiers slightly, as I am wont to do. S tier hero. Great, but I need to save points somewhere, so I'll use the second best choice because it's cheaper, and this actually happens a lot in Stormcast, so I gave it its own tier. And then we have pet unit, which is probably not good, possibly a meme, but you just like it, and if you play around it, it can still perform. And then we have the shelf zone, aka bad, aka just waiting for those rules to change or those points to drop or something. And then we have Race to the Bottom, which I have replaced Ale Guzzler tier with. Race to the Bottom. What does this mean? This means its Warscroll is bad. And the only way it should really see play is if it became so cheap that you're just paying 100 points for like 16 wounds, or just, you know, it kind of breaks the point system of the game. It's like its Warscroll is bad, the idea behind it is bad, the job is a job you would never want. It's kind of like hopeless. And so this is what we got here. To define our terms a little bit, I would call when we're talking about an S tier hero, I'm zooming out a little bit. We're talking about Stormcast, right? And so the rest of the tier list, great but all the way down, we are intra faction, right? Not inter faction. S tier here, to be an S tier hero, we gotta zoom out of the book of Stormcast and cast our gaze, cast our gaze across all of the game and be like, are you one of the best heroes? Just looking at Age of Sigmar, like that's how good you have to be an S tier hero. If you're an auto include in every Stormcast list, that's the first thing you have to do. You know, we've only just begun. Yeah. Lord Commander Stacker Pentecost. Hell yeah. What's the tier list for New Hollow EN? First of all, I don't know what that is or who they are. But I'm kind of looking to see where some of the graduations go. I have a theory or two. But once again, I don't know who they are. I'm 12. Okay, slightly different than what you were thinking. No big deal. This comes with a free, because we're talking about War Scrolls, we're talking about game, right? We're not talking about looks with this tier list. But we could do a looks tier list, because look at this, it's already made. Remind me to do a looks one, so we can judge Stormcast models, and now there's 2 videos for SJ Arcade's dead computer to rise from its grave and spit out Lord Relictor's still S, but they are trying to point him out of it. They are trying to point him out of it. Can I use my Lord Arcanum, Unky Heywoah? No. What's the gimmick? 39. 39 heroes. Jesus. This is a twofold audit. Should this hero exist, rules-wise or flavor-wise? How are them points? Like, comment, subscribe, X your friends? I don't know. On one side, you're really jealous the Stormcast have such huge variety. It's like a dream army. On the other hand, what the fuck? Yeah, never more. The problem is, have you ever heard suffering from success? Or like a first world problem, or the downsides of privilege or something like that? Stormcast. It's like, dude, a donut is so delicious. But if someone pointed a gun at your heart and they're like, you have to continuously eat donuts for the next 16 hours and you can't even fit them in your body anymore, that's kind of like Stormcast Heroes release schedule. Like, either you have a heart attack or I shoot. Yeah, it's the Homer meme. Any Xers in chat? I don't know. What is this? What is this? Re-X all your X's. I don't have any X's. I never got married. Never found the one. Never found Jet Li's the one. Twitter is X now? Nah. I'm gonna call it Twitter. So sue me. What was I gonna do? There was something. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had a row below. Should not exist. Just shouldn't exist. Like making an omelet. You should fold this model into some other Warscroll just to reduce the sheer bloat of this book. That one's, we'll do grayscale for that one. Just shouldn't exist. Make it count as something else. Get it out. Right? Anyway, there we go. Now we're proper here. Everyone knows what model belongs there right now. I will neither confirm nor deny that statement. Elon Musk in his brilliance is deciding to run a brand that's been successful on name recognition alone for over a decade. Yeah, but geez, it's more complicated than that, but the man's a fucking idiot. So pretend we had a 20-minute discussion about it, but that's where we get to anyway. It's not really the hottest take ever, and I'm trying to talk about Stormcast over here, but anyway, good meme. Big shout out to Penny Dude for the raw giga gaming of this report. Oh, big, okay. Huge even. All right, big shout out to Penny Dude, whomst I think is going to the 3K tournament this weekend, if I IRC correctly. Knight Heralder. 5-inch move, 3 up save, 8 bravery, 5 wounds. He is the Doot Man, whose mighty storm horn blows the eternal wind and song. Also, do you see it? Do you see the lip window so that he may blow mightily? That's weird. It probably would have also been weird if they didn't do that, but it's still weird. What key do I have to hold so this maintains aspect ratio? Oh, there just isn't one in PowerPoint. Okay, cool. I'll use the edge just so we can see the bravery. Yeah, the lips. He has a Sigmarite broadsword with some attacks. Thunder Blast. In your shooting phase, you pick one terrain feature holding than 18 of this unit. Roll a die for each enemy unit within 3. On a 2-up, unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. He's like a miniature Bobby Briccolini. Totem detected. Not that it really matters, largely, but he is a totem. Yeah, big totem. Now, I remember back in the old days when we used to tie onions to our belt, which was the style at the time. And this dude gave charge bonuses. And boy, did they Get rid of that ability on him. This guy used to be played ever. Also, so yes, he's a worse Bobby Briccolini. But he's a Bobby Briccolini that can deep strike directly onto that terrain feature, Holy Within. So this Holy Within thing, I mean, it's a Stormcast. You can deep strike him. Kind of problem solved, right? As a dude who blows up terrain, you are at the mercy of whatever the table's terrain happens to be. If there's some huge terrain feature in the middle of the table, and it's one of those battle plans where there's 5 objectives right in the middle, then this dude is going to be blowing the horn fucking every turn forever, and you're just laughing, right? Just cackling from the forest. If you're playing on an ice rink, in casual games, he does literal nothing, right? And apparently I have to guess the points, and it's been long enough since I made the Stormcast video, and there's been 2 points changes since, that I can't remember any of these guys' points, so I don't think I'm cheating by trying to guess. Should there be an ally tier, like clearly made to ally? The tier list gets longer and longer. Or does that even matter, I wonder? There. Clearly made to roleplay allies lore. Or does this matter? Doesn't matter? Alright. I didn't feel very strongly about it. Let's close that one down. How much is Bobby Briccolini nowadays? Is he 90? He's 90. This guy is the same thing as Bobby Briccolini, except with 1 fewer ability. Thunderblast is a little worse than Bobby's, but he can deep strike to get into a better position. 90 at the very most. I'm gonna say 80 because I'm pretending 100. Okay, I mean, it's more than I guessed, but it's less than I thought they would do. What does he do? Well, he's kind of like, I don't know, maybe you're playing a Sylvaneth army in Cities of Sigmar 2 years ago. Maybe you play 3 of them and try to spicy meatball people off the table or something. I don't know. What the dude doing? Yeah, he is in the race to the bottom. Because that's where he is. He's in the race to the bottom. His points keep going down and he's still not really worth it. Help, everything looks the same. Where's the dude man? There he is. I think he's in a race to the bottom, possibly in the should not exist tier. I don't think he should exist. I don't think Stormcast should ever give a shit about terrain, really. And he doesn't synergize with anything your army is trying to do. He's just like some extra thing. He used to have a purpose, they took it away from him, and so he should not exist. He was the charging boy back in the day, and they robbed that of him. And now he wanders aimlessly like Squall Lionheart at the end of Final Fantasy VIII. With no face. But a little lip window. Anyway, we're off to a great start. Knight Zephyros. Level 5 wound hero, good save. Bolt Storm pistols, damn, look at that shit. We got pistols in a fantasy game. 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1/1, kinda nothing. 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1/1, kinda nothing. But you can give it artifacts, I guess. Can run and still shoot. I don't know why you would want to run and shoot. I would rather run and charge, on account of her attacks being better than her shoots. Instead of picking this unit to make a normal move or retreat, you can say that it will ride the winds etheric. If you do so, remove this unit from the battlefield and set it up again on the battlefield more than 1 from all terrain features and objectives, and more than 9 from all enemy units. Technically she can teleport, which is useful, and you can give her a artifact or something if you really care. You probably don't. Once again, possibly an ally choice, but we've said we don't care about allies, so we won't. Switch hats, sure. I'm thinking cream team. She's one of those heroes that's like good if the battle plan requires you to have a teleporter. And by good, I mean only does that. You would like it to do something else. But yeah, like a point grabber. That's a real job. What does she cost? Takes up a hero slot. Technically a knight. You can give it something, but you probably don't care. She's a thing that gives you 2 victory points, maybe. Units that give you 2 victory points in my army are like 140. Sometimes 90. If there was an artifact that did like +2 damage on a weapon, she could be a little butcher or something like that. I'm thinking 100. 100 is kind of like low. I think 100 is actually kind of low, only because the teleport is strong. But you still have to be more than 1 from terrain and objectives. I guess that's not that bad. How much does a teleport on a unit cost? It's a hero that can get stuff. 100. I'm gonna err on the safe side. I'll say 110. She's 100. Alright. No safety here. Alright, where's Malit? That's Neve Black Talon, not the other one. Is Neve on this list? Or are we just using Knight Zephyros as a stand-in? I think we're using it as a stand-in. I think pet unit. She's like not very good, but in certain seasons, you could totally play her and scoop up victory points with her. That's good. Like sometimes that's good. And her price is right at 100. Yeah, you could totally play her some seasons and get use out of her. Oh, I was looking for white backgrounds, pardon me. Yeah. So this is Knight Zephyros. Got it. Next. Lord Ord. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Order war machines, while within 9 of any friendly units with this ability. The unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a melee weapon by this unit is a 6. Target suffers 2 mortals. Yeah, the Lord Ord. This dude used to be pretty cool back in 2nd edition as well. And now he doesn't have a job. At all. Could he have a job when Cities of Sigmar comes out and they get a war machine that isn't bad? Maybe. Even if you do, you can still just all-out attack, which is the same bonus, and would only be good if you're running like 4 individual war machine units in a circle or something like that. Look what they did to my boy. There's no point cost for this guy. He doesn't do anything. I guess he has 5 attacks. But yeah, his ability doesn't do anything, and he's like a combat guy, and he's not even a wizard. Race to the bottom. It doesn't matter what his points are. His Warscroll's useless. I'm thinking 50 points. Yeah, 110. Where's my Lord Ord? Sorry, it's going to take me extra time to find the individual people in the Stormcast tier list. Technically, you have war machines in Stormcast, because Celestar Ballista are war machines, unless I'm mistaken. So he's in the race to the bottom. His Warscroll does like nothing, and so he can't be cheap enough. Race to the bottom. He shouldn't not exist, because you do have war machines in your army. But, yeah, he doesn't do anything. Next. Knight Azyros. 12-inch flying. Pretty quick for Stormcast, and flying is OP. Ravni 1 things to follow. He's got a Star Blade with Stormcast attacks. Up to 5, though. Some of those dudes only have 3. Once per turn, at the end of the charge phase, you pick one enemy unit within 9. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by any Stormcast ever. This isn't the greatest buff, because you can get it from a command ability, but it's one of those dog pile buffs. You put it on an enemy, and then everybody fighting them gets the bonus, which is kind of good. And he's kind of fast. He can hold something. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's... I could see playing him as a pet unit for sure. What should he cost? 100. He's 120. Alright, where's my man? Pet unit for sure. He runs up with a lantern, shines it on people, gives them an inside-out buff on stuff. Like, he's nice and fast, has flying, technically a totem even though that doesn't really matter, and gives a inside-out buff to people. You can give him something. I don't know, Arcane Tome. It's kind of nice. I don't think he does anything particularly crazy unique, though, to get him up here. But you could totally run him and it wouldn't be a mistake. Pet unit. What should not exist actually means only rules quality, or also facade so ugly it's a crime. This has nothing to do with aesthetics. This is pure rules. Nothing to do with the model or the sculpt or anything like that. We'll do that one later if we have time. This is just rules. So, like, why is this guy in race to the bottom and not should not exist? Because he buffs war machines. And in your army, you do have a war machine. So there's like a reason for him to exist. He's just terrible, right? This guy here interacts with terrain in a weird way. And you're not an army that really cares about terrain in any way. And he used to care about charging, and then they took that ability away, so he doesn't do that anymore. And so it's just like, why does he exist? Where is his place in a Stormcast army? And that place is not even like the shelf, it's like gone. He lost his gerb, Ryan. Next. Knight Venator, the bow guy. With the most armor I've ever seen on an archer in my entire life, even when looking at Chinese phone games. The pinnacle of fat cast. As far as sculpts. We're not grading the sculpts here. Also 12-inch flying. 30-inch range sniper shots that can no longer target heroes. And so they're game-wide change to make everything that's longer than 12 kind of... Like, if you're supposed to be a sniper, you lost that job. Well, okay, he has a cardboard sign outside of the fucking Domino's that says, we'll shoot heroes for food. Star-fated arrow. Once per battle in your shooting phase, you can say that this unit will shoot a star-fated arrow instead of attacking with its melee missile weapons. If you do so, pick one enemy unit within 30. On a 3-up, the target suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the target is a hero or monster, D6 mortal wounds instead of D3. Upon further inspection, this is not a shooting attack. This is an ability. In your shooting phase, you can say that it will do this ability. If you do, just pick an enemy and then roll dice, and sometimes mortal wounds happen. It's not a shooting attack. I'm going to rescind my previous statement to the court about that cardboard sign. He's still got the cardboard sign, but there's like a fucking 9mm hiding behind it. He's got a plan. Once per battle, you can maybe do D6 mortal wounds to some hero. There is a luck stone. People used to do some combo with it to sometimes have that be an auto 6. Maybe you could do that nowadays. Every other turn he's not really doing anything at all. He used to have a bird that did something too. Like his bird would go and peck your eyes out, but he lost that. And I don't think you can do that with Luckstone anymore. So you're really like once per game 3 up D6, which is... Move for points, 100, 140, okay. This guy's points weren't updated when they made heroes immune to shooting. Should this guy exist? Apparently, snipers are just banned, right? They decided to ban snipers for the most part in the whole game. And so the units they designed on purpose to be snipers just don't have a job anymore. I think it's just the shelf zone. He's just waiting. He's waiting until they figure out what they're doing with him. I don't think it's not like he shouldn't exist. He's not even in the race to bottom. He's just kind of shelved. 140. LOL. Arcanum. Wizard detected, so it can't be bad. It's impossible. You have the wizard keyword, therefore you can't be bad. Thunderstrike keyword. 6 whole wounds because of the mask. 2-inch range bonk. 3s and 4s. Gugh. Okay. Predatory endless spells cannot pass across this unit or finish a move within 3 of this unit. So one of those, like, if there were sideboards in this game, you might do this, but there just isn't, so I don't know why you keep printing stuff like this. Thanks for letting me switch hats. This hat is actually too tight. I'm annoyed. It's giving me a headache. I was about to take it off manually. Cream Team's letting me down. Guy's a great counts as for an incanter. I'm not gonna lie. Blase of the Heavens. Casting ability 7, range 18. Pick 1 enemy within range invisible. The unit suffers D3. Add 2 to the range of this spell for each other friendly Stormcast Eternal Thunderstrike unit wholly within 12. So you have 2 other Thunderstrikes. And now you're 22s. You're on 22-inch D3 mortal wounds? Holy shit. Remember when I said he has the wizard keyword, so he can't be bad? Remember when I said that? I'm once again asking the court to rescind my statement. He is bad. Is he should not exist, or is he erased to the bottom? Who gives a fuck about endless spells in a Stormcast army? And Blaze of the Heavens is just like a bad idea. The model looks dope. This guy is a Knight Incantor. Right? Knight Incantor. Easy. Didn't even look at points. It doesn't matter. What should he cost? I don't know. Yeah, 100? Sure. Sure, I agree 100. He should not exist. Like, the definition of bloat. Right? Just some hero that does fucking nothing. On top of the 20 other fucking heroes that do nothing, right? Anyway, he's a knight in Cantor. You do like the mask? Same. Yeah, the model looks cool. If we were judging the model, he'd be up here. But we ain't. Yeah, he looks dope. And he's got the... he's got the #1. Starbox Wizard has to be a new Warscroll. I disagree. And yet, who am I, right? Lord Arcanum. Not just a Knight Arcanum, but a Lord Arcanum, who looks way worse. He is a Lord, that's bonus. In the Stormcast army, Lords are excellent. Or rather, Lords are extra special because they get better ranges on a bunch of different things and holy commands and stuff. So like a Lord is significantly better than a Knight. For various Stormcastian reasons, don't worry about it. It's not like crucial, but it's noticeably nicer. He's got an Aether Stave. These are like okay attacks. When moving a predatory endless spell controlled by this unit, add 6 to the distance the endless spell can be moved in that phase. I don't think Stormcast need this kind of bloat where there's a bunch of endless spell people in them. They don't strike me as a particularly magical army. I could see Tzeentch having this ability. I could see Lumineth having this ability. I could even see Gitz having this kind of ability. Stormcast strike me as fairly poor wizards. They just are in full plate. And so I don't know why they're getting, like, weird, super extra bonus magic stuff when the army isn't really about that. But they had to come out with a new magic chamber, so I guess they are cool with magic. Once per turn, friendly Stormcast determines model is slain within 18. Instead of removing it from play, you can heal 1 wound allocated to that model, and it does not count as having been slain, and it cannot use it on itself. Delete this entire rule and paragraph, and start over. It's a failure of rules writing, top to bottom, and then Thunderclap. Pick one enemy within 18, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by that unit until your next tier phase. It's a decent debuff. That's alright. It's like a, you know, anti-all-out attack, I guess. This is like, you could use an endless spell and then do extra stuff with it, but I don't think it's worth taking a Lord Arcanum specifically for that, unless you have some sort of combo or something like that. That's the problem with him. I don't know what we're costing him at. 1... And this is weird. Every endless spell they make, they have to think about this one asshole with added 6 distance to it. I can't think of a points cost for this guy that wouldn't make him, like, kind of unplayable. 120, 140? Yeah, he's 140. Alright, let's find him. Let's find him on the list. What does he look like again? Okay, that guy. That's not him. I think this is him. I think this is a Lord Arcanum on foot. I think. So, like, in a world where there's an endless spell that's just undercosted or really good, like Go Back in Time, Purple Sun, or in first edition Geminids or something, like this guy's kind of tempting. I think he's only tempting if you're using an endless spell that is about to get nerfed somehow, right? current edition Geminids are pretty good, though. Thunderclap is okay. I think this guy is like the definition of pet unit. If you're playing some endless spell you can see value from, his Warscroll spell is like kind of alright. He's technically a lord, you know. He far exceeds these two probably. Because it's like, hey, I want to play with Geminids. I want to play with whatever. And this guy is going to be kind of a combo with it. Yeah, I think he rises all the way up into pet unit. Lord Arcanum on Celestial Draco Lean. "12-inch move, no fly, wizard, 3 up, save 8 wounds. Very durable. 7 attacks, all on 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 2, basically. Claws are only range 1, which is a little annoying. He has Cycle the Storm, which is just a half-baked, awful rule. Time waster, it's super long, wordy, doesn't do anything. It naturally rerolls charges, that's good. You can give him an artifact, that's good. Pack Alpha is a great buff. This is a great buff. Add 1 in the tax characteristic, a monstrous claws, used by friendly Dracoline wholly within 18, including himself, so it has 4. This is a great synergy. Just awesome. And then Stormlands. It's not that great. But still, he does a lot of cool stuff. I don't think you see many of these guys because if I recall correctly, he's too expensive and the Dracolines are too expensive. And when you're just looking at Dracolines, you're like, yeah, but why don't I just play Fulminators? Or perhaps some of the other Draconiths, now that their points went down. I think he's actually kind of good. What should he cost? I can't remember. I had an idea for it. Let's see. 8 wounds, 12 move. What do you think? 200? I don't think he should be less than 200. Because he brings very nice synergy if you're doing the Celestial Dracoline thing. And you're not just going to throw him in a list. I don't know. Without knowing any context, 200. Hey, 180. Good. Good work. I basically agree. Growl Tribal Aggro. Where does this guy go? 180 is pretty decent for what he does. If you're trying to play a Dracoline army. The problem, if I recall correctly, problem with the Dracoline army, unlike a Fulminator army, or even a fucking Dragon army, is I don't think you can get Dracolines as battle line. Any Stormcast players in the chat? I think that's like the main problem with this, right? Is you can't build a Dracoline army because they can't be battle line. Dracolines cannot become battle line. Does that kill the crab entirely? I think it actually does. I think that actually kills the crab. I think he's great, but like great synergy, pretty good cost, does decent things. You want to run Dracolines because they're cheaper now. But he's for an army that kind of doesn't exist because of this weird other thing. So he's great, but it's not his fault. Also, good point value. I was like predicting what they would cost, and I figured they'd cost him at 220 or something like that. Yeah, it's not his fault that some rule somewhere else stops him from being cool. Dracolines can't be battle line, but you can teleport them with lock on, which makes them basically a threat anywhere on the board, and they kill most any. Yeah, the damage is good. The damage for the Dracolines with this dude has always been good. Really reliable. You know, you got, what is it? The +1 the wound spell and then all-out attack. And your 6 Dracolines are just chilling on 2s and 2s. Like, you almost can't miss. Like, it's so good. Or it's so consistent, I should say. Lord Arcanum on Grief Charger. Now, this is the guy that everybody used to play. Everybody liked this guy. Because he's like the Lord Arcanum, except he has 12-inch move. Also, he has Healing Light. What's this? Pick a friendly Stormcast, heal D3. If the unmodified casting roll was 8 up, heal D6. Alright, So, he's a fast guy who can teleport. Counts as a Lord. Which used to be really cool for unlocking Battle Line, but I don't think you need an Arcanum anymore to unlock. You used to need it to unlock, you know, Sacrosanct Battle Line, but I don't think you do anymore. How much did we cost the man on foot? So if this guy costs 140, and he shouldn't, what does this guy cost? Well, these guys are too different. This guy is a Death Star synergy machine who's pretty decent at fighting and pretty decent at not dying. And this guy teleports with like no synergy, right? So there, I don't think you can compare these two. Note that wins is not once per game. Yeah, it used to be. Wins Etheric used to be once a game in 2nd edition. No longer. You also have to. You also used to have to roll like what 6d6, and then choose like a cardinal direction, and it has to move in a straight line. And there's some shit about terrain or whatever. It used to be a lot worse and weird. And they're like, fuck it, just put him somewhere. Let's save us all some trouble. $160. Ooh, I was close. 170. Now, I don't like the birds because I don't like birds, but you can ignore that because it's like a personal preference, right? So here's one of them. I think that's the one. Do we need a guy? Wait, he doesn't do the thing. I'm sorry. Lord Arcanum on foot has an endless spell ability. Lord Arcanum on mount doesn't have the endless spell ability. Why? E4 Gore? Should not exist. He's a mounted guy with like some attacks, 0 synergy in the rest of the army, and can teleport. Come back to me when you're more interesting. He's busy steering. He's got the reins in both hands and his mouth, yeah. LAOGC is practically the definition of a pet unit. Yeah, should I be more fair? I'm being extra judgmental here because I don't think he has a strong enough reason to exist. And they needed to like start over and give him a theme. But as it stands, I've seen a lot of Stormcast play with him. Right? And the teleport is useful. So I could very well put him in pet unit zone. And it wouldn't be like wrong, I don't think. Being able to teleport is really powerful, obviously. Maybe I should keep shouldn't exist for like trash units instead of just things I thematically disagree with, right? Alright, pet unit. Yeah, but for 170 though? I don't know. I'll come back to it. Lord Arcanum on Toralion. I'm expecting a little more damage for the size of this model. I'm not gonna lie. 12 wounds, 3 up saves, pretty good though. 14 flying is extremely fast. This motherfucker is faster than a Stonehorn if there's even one piece of terrain on the table. That's pretty fast. Because they can, as the crow flies, right? After this unit has made a normal move, add one of those hit rolls for attacks made by Stormcast in cities within 3 of this unit. Wait, within 3 of this unit? Hold on. So you have all of your archers right here, right? And then you have a Lord Arcanum on Turalian, and he, quote, moves right there. And it just gives them all +1 to hit. And it works on City Sigmar too. What is... Dude, Lord Ordinator is spinning in his grave. Okay, this guy used to do something way different. He flew over top units and then would give +1 to shoot them or something, or hit them. He has the stupid cycle, the storm thing, and then lightning orb. Which sucks. Okay. He's a monster wizard hero that can't fight very well. He's incredibly fast. And has an ability that, like, kind of doesn't want him to necessarily get into combat, really. But he could. It's like the most disappointing Warscroll I've ever read. But he is still a monster wizard hero. Why? Why does this guy exist? When Cities gets good, he'll be possibly a thing. Oh, wait. This guy costs, like, what, 250? 250 is pretty cheap for the movement, speed, and flying. But he kind of sucks. 260. Oh, hey, I was close. Yeah, I think he's like pet unit. Not for Stormcast though. Like he's a pet unit for Cities of Sigmar or something. Night Questor. Should not exist. Yeah, he's supposed to fight other heroes. He has a move of 5 inches. What game are they making this guy for? Because it's not Age of Sigmar. He should cost, I don't know, 20? Yeah, 100? No. He's literally not worth a drop. If he was free, you probably would stay low drop. If you were trying to. I don't even think this guy... I think this guy is like in the shelf until Cities comes out. There, I said it. 5 wound, 5-inch move assassin hero who isn't actually very good at fighting and has no useful abilities. What? He's perfect in a Fire Slayer army. Okay. Maybe if he were a priest. Piles in and attacks when he dies. Did you make it to crazy yet? I have not, Green Mountain. Alright, Night Judge Judicator. Actual Chad, in my opinion. In my opinion, underrated hero. As of whenever the fuck I made my Stormcast video. I felt he was underrated back then, and I still think so now. However, they did just steal this man's job. He got laid off. 1,000 Stormcast middle managers got laid off. So the numbers next quarter looked good, and he can no longer snipe heroes. Which is a big problem. I still like him, but damn, that sucks. It sucks to change the core rules of the entire game, because 3 units in the whole game are a problem. Yeah, dude, 30-inch range, 2 attacks, 3s and 2s, neg 3/3. Look, 3s and 2s I think is like a 50-50 chance, possibly a little higher than 50%. So you're still like, if you miss both, it shouldn't be a surprise to you. But Ren 3 damage 3, that's good. 30-inch range, that's good. Comes with a dog, and the dog can fuck off and go wherever it needs to and stand somewhere, and then he can stand somewhere else. He unlocks certain battle line. I don't think the battle line that he unlocks is particularly good, but he does, you know? He looks awesome. Okay, the head kind of strange maybe, but he looks cool. Big bow. Oh, pardon me, 2 dogs. Sorry. Doesn't come with an dog. He comes with 2 parenthetical TWO dogs. Once a battle in your shooting phase, you can say this unit will draw the gaze of Sigmar and shoot the big arrow. Pick a point on the battlefield, and this can be near that hero we were talking about. Roll die for each enemy unit within 6. Actually a big range for the pick point on the battlefield things. Most of those are 3. 4 up, D3 mortal wounds. That's good. This guy's good. He's underrated. What should he cost? How much is a Gryph-hound? What's a Gryph-hound worth points-wise, technically? If you were to buy a unit of them, divided by the number of dogs in the unit. Are there 5 dogs in a unit or 6? Yeah, he's got the Patriot. Yeah, Patriot weapon system arrow. Yeah. So they're 20 per. So the dogs are 20 points apiece, essentially. Which means that this guy should cost 40 plus whatever his Warscroll's cost is. Because if he comes with 2 dogs, that's 40 points worth of dogs. Logically makes sense. Oh, it's 90 points for 6? They went down? Oh, dogs went down. Okay, 90 points for 6, huh? Fucking Frost Sabers are 2 Frost Sabers for 80. I am mad. I'm fucking mad. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So 2 dogs is 30 points, in other words, which means that he should cost whatever this shit costs plus 30. Cool ranged attacks, even if there's only 2 of them. Good wheel, actually. Is technically able to fight in melee, but not really. Unlocks battle line. Gaze of Sigmar, the Patriot arrow system. That shit's cool once per battle. Big range on it. 6-inch, too. Not just a 3. Damn, this guy's like 130 easily. Probably more. But I want him to be played more because I think he's cool. So I'm gonna say 130 plus 30 for the 2 dogs is 160. 160 is probably too low for what he should be, but I want him to be undercosted. Because I think Stormcast should get undercosted stuff. I think that should be their power. Their shit just costs less than it should. 160. Alright, 180. Almost there. Drop his points again. I dare you. You don't have the guts. Night Judicator is cool. Where do we put him? Is he great, but? Am I willing to say he's great? I think he's great, but he's probably a pet unit. But I'm putting him here. Dude, 3 different units that can go wherever. That's good. Yeah, he can't snipe people anymore, so maybe he's not great, but... The dogs are not independent? Oh, they're not. Oh, yeah, but they're independent of him. So we split the difference, so he can go in 2 different places. That's still fine. Did Heywoah just say Night Judicator has a great bot? No, I can't see it because of the cloak. Otherwise I would have graded it. I'm gonna say great bot. Yeah. I'd like to see him a little cheaper. It's a pity the rules of the game changed to make him worse. I'd like to see him 160 maybe. Vigil or Battle Line is kind of whatever because they're not great. But I gotta put something in the good tier, right? Knight Incantor. Once a game, auto unbind. Where's my lady? Now hold on. Let me think about this. Temporary storage in the S tier hero section. Okay. Let's check the Warscroll spell. It's shit. But is it? 18-inch radius. Just balloon of -1 the charge. Obviously you're gonna give her a cool spell, right? But -1 the charge does matter. It does matter. She auto unbinds, so everybody thinks she's better than she is. Technically she can fight. And I seem to recall her points being really good. Yeah, 120. When I think about S tier hero, I think about stuff like if you had access to this in most armies, would you play it? And I think the answer is yes. For the cost, for what it does. Also, waifu detected. T-posing. Yeah, I think we have our first S tier hero. This is a great carry-on from our show this week. I think the problem with this guy... Incantor? Oh no, you mean the Night Judicator. Oh shit. Remember how wishy-washy I was about putting him in Great Butt? Well, Vince is probably gonna articulate why I was so hesitant to do so. What does he do for those points? Yeah, he misses his 2 shots and can't even snipe heroes, and once a game he does something cool. That's really what he does. You're not gonna unlock the battle line. Pulling me back down to the ground. Heroes are always a trap in Stormcast. Yeah, you want to run a lot, but you're not supposed to. You actually should be running as few heroes as humanly possible. Fine, he's a pet unit. Somebody's got to keep me honest. Knight Vexilor. Speaking of traps... Meteoric Standard. The meaty standard. Once per battle in your hero phase, you can pick a point on the battlefield within 24. Each enemy unit within 6 suffers D3 mortal wounds. Each enemy within 6 on these is actually kind of a big radius. Usually these kind of things are 3. Pennant to the Stormbringer. If this unit carries a Pennant to the Stormbringer once per battle, oh sorry, you get to choose. You can pick one friendly Stormcast Eternals on the battlefield anywhere, and then teleport that anywhere else. Once a game. Can't do anything else. You're already playing a Relictor. Yeah, it doesn't have any positional requirements, but you're not trying to play heroes. Too many that do this. You can reroll charge rolls for friendly Stormcast units within 12 of this unit. That's cool. If you want to care about charges, though, there are other better guys. I think they have to make this guy expensive enough so that you don't take like 6 of them and drop meteors in the first turn or something. I think they're afraid of that, even though even that's not like that great. Am I in the why does this exist category for this guy? In my head, it makes sense. You're Stormcast. What does Stormcast do? They have meteor themes. They have twin-tail comet themes. They move on lightning. They teleport. That's like what this guy does. So like thematically, he does Stormcastian things. It's just they're like once a game and he doesn't do anything else. He's kind of like a chode. Technically, he's a totem, I guess. And if you make him too cheap, people will want to play 6 of them. But if they do, I don't know that I even care. Do I care? 100. He's down to 120. And he has been falling for 3 editions. And so, isn't that what the race to the bottom means? He goes down forever and is never taken? Knight Vexilor, the other type. Look at this. Actual Chad. Alpha cast. Base Eternal. He has a sword. Huge Sigmar banner that looks fucking sick. You know, Age of Sigmar has a problem making like this sweet banner Chads do something useful. Stormcast has a bunch of them. Lumineth has the really cool one. I think they're doing one for Cities of Sigmar as well. He looks so cool. I think they have it in their head that once a game you plant the standard and do something. And so almost always they like can't be good just because of that initial design idea of planting the one flag and doing one thing once. Anyway, once you're battling your hero phase, you can pick up to 3 friendly Stormcast Eternals units holier than 12 to be affected by the banner's energy. If you pick a unit once with this ability, heal D3. Or if no wounds are allocated, you can return a number of slain models. If you pick a unit twice, 2d3, and if you pick a unit 3 times, I'm assuming 3d3, yes it is, okay. And then you can reroll charge rolls. Another reroll charge. Look at all the reroll charges they put on 5-inch move dudes. I guess you're supposed to drop it and then reroll your charges, but even rerolling a 9 is bad, so I don't know. Except Bloodsegrator. True Raveny. Almost forgot about that guy. Yeah, he's the banner boy that the rest of the banner boys deserve to be. Bringing back huge Stormcast bodies with good armor is sort of scary, I guess. But it's sort of like if I was going to say Arterius, if you want to rally, it's like an automatic rally. So if we're LARPing, you keep him in the heavens, and then battle round 3, he lands in the hero pose, thunderbolt from the heavens, crackling down. The fucking end of the banner first, and like the banner plants into the ground on his way down like Thor, and then he like lands next to it. Oh shit. 3 Stormcast come back to life. Hell yeah, brother, you know. I think that's good though. 100 points. Alright, he's 140. He looks so sick. You think he's pet? Has anybody used this guy, or are we just imagining really specific situations where if you could snap your fingers and magically have him, it would be cool? Because that's like a trap you can get into with looking at a Warscroll. It details this hyper-specific situation where a thing would be good. And so like you can walk backwards and solve the maze backwards and be like, okay, I could see a situation where this guy is good, but like, would you bring him? Big Drac Cav units refill. Alright, you know what? Fine. I'll put him in the shelf zone. He gets promoted to shelf from race to the bottom. Should probably... I think maybe... Is the cost the problem here? I don't know. He goes in one of them. If this guy costs 100, do you take him? I don't know. Maybe in a dragon thing. Knight Relictor. With the rock fanny pack. This guy is literally worse than a Lord Relictor in every single way, but they keep making Lord Relictor more expensive. Each time friendly Stormcast turn with unit within 12 of this unit is affected by a prayer abilities of an invocation you can roll on a full case. Nothing. This guy is technically a priest. I think he's 120? He's 100. Okay. Funny how things change. I need to save points. I want a Lord Relictor in my army, but they keep making him more expensive, and so now I'm actually eyeing this guy up as a 100-point translocator. Problem. He has a 3-up rerolling to cast instead of a 2-up rerolling to cast, and no thing on the priest thing. If you just compare him to Lord Relictor, he's like literal garbage, right? Worse in every way, but 100 versus what? 160 now? Relictor keeps going up. Lord Exorcist. Slain models cannot be returned to enemy units that are within 9 of any friendly units with this ability. Sideboard card writ large. I think this will be fairly uncontroversial. Simply should not exist. Pure bloat. Oh, I'm sorry. 150? Why? I'm gonna be honest, I was thinking 90, and he was still trash. Why? Okay. The value. Yeah, he lost his dog. Or no, I don't think he... Exorcist never had the dog. I don't think. Unless I'm wrong. I might be wrong. But yeah, no dog on the Warscroll. I have no concept of why this guy's 150. What? This guy's like the null rod of Stormcast heroes. It doesn't do anything. No, it does nothing. Lord Aquilor. He's 8-12-3. He's armed with a heavy bolt storm pistol, star blade, and hand axe. He has 4 weapons. The value with bonus attacks. 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1, 2. 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1, 2. Well, at least you can roll all 5 at once. And then 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, 2, 1. And then some waste of time shots. Probably 1 will hit. He has Ride the Wind, it's etheric. Once you battle around, the unit can issue a friendly command to a Vanguard unit holding within 18 of this unit without a command point being spent. These abilities are really good. 1 per battle round. Weird. Usually it's once per turn. Maybe it's not. It's strange that he doesn't have the Vanguard keyword, so that he can't issue to himself with the free one. That's weird. What did I point the other worthless guy who doesn't do anything but teleport on a mount? Keeping in mind that teleports are good. Oh, he wasn't worthless. Technically, he's a wizard. 170 for that guy. So what if you had some more attacks, but you were no longer a wizard? Well, he has to be cheaper than Lord Arcanum on mount. So 160, I guess, because he's worse. Okay, he's the same. I mean, he does swing more weapons than the wizard does, I suppose. And he has this Vanguard thing. Free command ability to, like, long strikes is cool, I guess. It's weird he doesn't have his own keyword, so he can't do the thing to himself. I don't know why this... He has a teleport. He's kind of cheap. He's like the same as this other guy, right? If I put this guy in pet unit, he has to go there too. He's not a wizard though, I think he's shelf. And I would question his reason for existing as well. I guess his reason for existing is that he teleports. That's his reason to exist. Hotspur, thanks for the tier 1 for 34 months. Big. Thanks for the long string of months. Appreciate it. Alright, welcome back from our commercial break. Who's in S tier right now? Knight Incanter. This guy's great, but cats can't be battle line, and I think it kind of maybe ruins the concept for the army, but he has good synergy and good stuff. This guy is like the most strictest downgrade possible from Lord Relictor, but he's getting so much more expensive that maybe you use him if you're trying to cheat on points here and there, I think. Maybe. Just don't roll 2s, right? This guy technically teleports, and teleport is just like really good. And he's a wizard, so pet unit easy. This guy, kind of same thing, but like just take the wizard keyword instead. I don't see a downside for it. And I question a lot of the Vanguard stuff. It feels weird and bloaty. And that Cycle of the Storm stuff. Nonsense. Rules paragraphs. Lord Imperatant. Well, what does this guy do? You can ignore everything on his entire Warscroll. Guided by lightning. He allows you to deep strike and actually fucking charge afterwards. That's what he allows you to do. And so, you might say the thing that it seems like Stormcast are advertising to you that they can just do, but they totally can't. Unless you have this guy with Thunderstrike keyword. So like you don't know anything, you're some kid, you're looking at the box, you're reading thunderbolts from heaven, landing and charging their enemies, right? And you think that shit just works, and it just doesn't. 9-inch re-rolling, you're still likely to fail. And so, I think that's weird, but also it would probably be too good if it were true. And so you have Lord Imperaton, who costs a bunch of points, and has limited keywords. And so if you're going to play that kind of list, you take him, you have to, and if you don't, you can't. What does he cost now? 170 or something? I can't actually remember. 160, okay. Hey, he's got some shots. He does something. Look at these attacks. You know, all these little 3-up save heroes, 7 wounds, just sort of lumbering, kind of waddling around the battlefield, swinging 2 damage weapons. That shit can add up late game when they're the only things that are still alive. Also, as a Beast Claw Raiders player, I feel your pain about D6 number of attacks. Gugh. Don't like it on my guys. You probably don't like it on your guys. Also, once per turn, this unit can issue a command without a command point being spent. How hard was that to write? Lord Socolor. Anyway. He is sick. D6 equals 1, you should always just read it as this. I usually read it as 2, but that's because I have wishful thinking. He enables builds. He is a build enabler, a job creator. Great, but only works with Thunderstrike. That's just about the only downside there. Nice cock. Is he oh wait, hold on. Sorry. Music back on. S tier? I don't know if S tier. He allows a build. And that's good. And what he does is really good. Is he one of the best heroes in the whole game though? I don't think so. He works with relocation? No. Because it says here, when you use the Scions of the Storm ability to set up a unit. So it does not work with translocate. They made sure that there would be no fun allowed, no combos. You use him that one time, or, 2 times. You can keep multiple units and just drop one every turn, right? He's very good. He allows you to build builds. And he allows you to do what Stormcast kind of our build is supposed to be able to be doing, land and charge, right? So I like that about him. Looks pretty cool. Big hammer, always a fan of that. Cool faceplate. All around good guy. Reasonably costed, I would say, at 160. For a build enabler, just a kind of a tax man. He's why there's no such thing as a cheap annihilator, because they always have this phantom cost attached to them. Well, I shouldn't say always. Lord Relictor. Look at the fucking meat on this model. This dude. It's like in a cartoon when they open up their closet and it's just floor to ceiling filled with like sporting equipment that's just packed in there and not about to fall. That's like his body. There's just like a head there. And he has a giant, I can't remember what those things are called. You know that voodoo Catholic stuff where they entomb a skeleton, do a thing? I can't remember what they're called. But he's got one of those and it looks sweet. We could have had this aesthetic for all of Wave 1 Stormcast, but they chickened out and made them boring and fat instead. Although he is fat. Relic Hammer kind of swings. +1 chanting rolls. Jesus Christ. 12-inch range heal, although it's only technically it's a 3-up. Heal D3. Does D3 mortals as well, if you felt like it. +1 to all chanting rolls, not just your Warscroll ones, not just your spellbook ones, you know, whatever. Give him translocate. High Priest goes a long way into pushing this guy up even higher because you get to re-roll that. And so it's a 2-up re-rolling. I think Reliquary might be the right word, Kyle the Cozy. I'm not sure. Yeah, that is a fun fact, Ortiers. The skeleton in the thing he's holding, that's his original body, which makes him even cooler. So what do you do with a teleporting priest with +1 to chant all, with a heal and a damage on their profile? For whose price keeps going up way high. 170 now? No, 150. 150. I was thinking he was Lord Imperatant points. He's not. When you think about Stormcast, do you think about the Lord Relictor? Imagine a 150 point foot priest that basically can't fail any prayer. That's the shit. When you think about Stormcast heroes, like that define the entire faction, this guy has for essentially 3 editions. It's been the Lord Relictor show for 8 years, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop. Yeah, also Skig is a Lord Relictor, true, so pure S tier right there. And Shurus, thanks for the follow, I appreciate it. That was a fun-ass game, man. That was a fun game. I got to roleplay as the ogre who said, like, the dumb funny thing all the time, and was kind of introspective at times. It was a fun character to play. Listen to Andrew just fucking describe the wizard tower that we were looking for, and he, like, describes every single part of this mammoth 70-foot tall, made out of pure jade tower in real life for like 6 minutes. And then Big Winter's like, is this it? is this the tower? Alright, anyway, Lord Veritant. This is the dude with the dog, right? He comes with the dog? Yeah, he comes with the companion. He is the Unbinder, is technically a priest and a totem. He's loading up. Shurus, or Shushurus. You watch too much Heywoah Plus not to start watching on Twitch. Hey, thanks a lot for showing up. I appreciate it. The system works. They see it on YouTube. They come to Twitch. The system works. Thanks a lot. Judgment Blade. So he comes with a dog. He can unbind. Hey, like, unbinding is kind of good this season, right? You don't have to spend heroic willpower. Sanction. That's a prayer with an answer value of 4. Pick 1 enemy unit. Does D3 mortal wounds. Oh, it must remain within 1 inch of this guy. Never mind, ruined. It's just like, it's like ablative wounds on this. He's even, his wounds are even huger. He has more meat. He has more meat than we even thought. So, like, nobody ever takes this guy right. But he's technically got a lot of wounds on a 3-up save. He is a priest and a totem, and he unbinds. Right? if you're just checking boxes, like, that stuff is good. It's kind of a shame Lord Relictor exists, right? Kind of puts this guy on the street. On a train car somewhere. And if you want, like, I guess it's like, okay, I could buy a wizard and a priest, so that I can counterspell. Or I could buy a Lord Venator, who's way worse, well, okay, who's worse at casting Translocate, doesn't have an auto-unbind like Incanter, and can't cast a spell. I don't know why I kind of don't know why he exists. I guess you want more priests in the army. If you're gonna have 39 fucking heroes, you might as well have more than 2 priests, I guess. But I think back to the drawing board on this guy, maybe. I don't know that he should exist. Figure something else out with him. Have him be a counts as Lord Relictor or something. Gotta clean some of this chaff out. Oh yeah, what does he cost? For 10 more points you can get a Lord Relictor, don't talk to me. Lord Castellant. Speaking of refrigerators, walking golden refrigerators, Castellant is a cube of metal. If you've ever seen this model in real life, you know what I'm talking about. He's hilarious. This guy is so good and has always been so good. If you were to ask me in first edition or even the first half of second edition, I would say Lord Relictor and Castellant would be like the single 2 heroes you just start every list with, right? Castellant dipped off a little bit. He really did. But third edition came out, and then a few months into third edition, he came roaring back because armor stacking is overpowered, right? He's an automatic, uninteractable Mystic Shield for free. That's crazy good. And it works in the hero phase, so you can set it, send it off, and forget it. Yeah, Lord Refrigerator parry, yeah. I don't know what the fuck else he does. He comes with a dog who has to stay next to him, so he's got like, I don't know, fucking 10 wounds, 11 wounds, something like that. Technically he has 10 wounds, but not really, so that you can put him in battalions and you can't shoot him and stuff. They found a loophole and it's called a companion. And, you know, he's got some of those attacks. Technically you could also do D3 mortal wounds on a 2-up 18, which is, sometimes you might do that actually. Doggo doesn't add to the hero. I'm to understand that he does, but let's read. The Gryph-hound must remain within 1 inch of Lord Castellan. For rules purposes, Lord Castellan and Gryph-hound are treated as a single model. And he's accompanied by the dog. Oh, so oh, no, I'm wrong, yeah. Look. If you added the wounds to it, then why would you add the beacon claws up here in the melee weapon profile? I'm wrong. The body doesn't actually do anything. It just takes up space. Yeah. What does this guy cost? I remember 120 or something back in the day, a million years ago. Is he still that cheap? No, he's not. He went up a lot. Deserved for an automatic Mystic Shield that stacks with everything. That can't fail. With an incredible range. 160, you're starting to get squeamish about taking something like this, but he's so fucking good that you do it anyway. Where is he? Here we go. With the dog. The original man and dog. The lowest he could possibly be is Greatbot. And he actually shits on these two. It's probably in this order. Is the 160 kind of painful And so it puts him in the Great Butt, or is he S tier? Well, that's a good question. Let's think about it. Would you take this guy in your army? The answer is yes, so he's S tier. It doesn't matter what army. He just goes in. Dude, imagine paying 160 points and you just get Mystic Shield for free. Can't stop it. I don't know. Is he a priest? He's a totem. 160 is kind of a lot, but did you know that my wizards are like approaching that anyway? Dude is incredible. I think kind of S tier in the whole game guy. The only downside is he has an appropriate cost, and so you're kind of sad that you're not getting a deal. Arcane Tome acceptable though, right? Yeah, toss it on. He's not a priest. Oh, wait. Yeah, he's not a priest. So, you can give him an Arcane Tome. He casts Mystic Shield, uses Warding Lantern, and now your Ren 3 against your 3-up Stormcast guys does actual nothing big after an all-out defense. Ren 3? Okay, cool. I have a 3-up save after that. Drake's Worn Templar. 18 wounds, 4-up save. Move 12 and flying, that's alright. I'm surprised that it has a save this shitty in an otherwise 3-up save everywhere kind of army. It has a bunch of different weapon options. You can choose the bow, which you won't. You could choose Rain of Stars, which you might. I have to read it. And you could choose one of all of these different melee weapons that all suck. And then Sweeping Tail, D6 attacks. Disgusting. And Great Claws, which I wouldn't call them great. I would call them alright for a monster, I guess. Claws. I would write that whole sentence right there under the weapon thing. Oh, you always get the bow. Never mind. Okay, so you get kind of like the worst one, maybe. 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 1. Thanks. Add 1 to casting rolls, friendly wizards within 18. Yo, not wholly within? Subtract 1. Damn, add 1 to casting rolls for friendly wizards within 18. Wouldn't it be cool if you could pay like 80 for that as a corpse cart instead of like fucking 400? But whatever, that's fine. Arc Hammer scores multiple hits. Kinda don't care. Stormlance. If you get if you target a monster and the hit roll is 6, it suffers D6 mortal wounds. How many attacks do you get with the lance? 3. So you won't. And it's still only against a monster. Cavernous Jaws, which is kind of the way it really does its damage, if I'm honest. I've seen these in play before. You're kind of just devouring people whole and pinning some giant battle line unit and slowly devouring it. Back in the day. And you take Tempest Axe so that they can't pile in. It's like the ultimate pin unit, kinda. Or this is how it was played before. They took Tempest Axe, they stopped people from piling in, just hit the corner of something and just sit there cavernous jawsing over and over and forcing people to have to retreat from them. Celestial Blast. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with the Skybolt Bow is 6, which it won't be because there's 2 attacks, target suffers 1 mortal wound and the attack sequence ends. Awesome. Really good. Very nice. Where's the Rain of Stars rule, though? What does that do? Hold on. Rain of Stars used to be pick a point on the battlefield kind of thing, but this must be a clerical error. It's a missile. Oh, I see. So it's 4 attacks, 3s and 2s, -3, 2. Okay, but you can't snipe people anymore. And so all these snipers, the core rules changed, so they got a pay cut out of nowhere. What should this cost? 18 wounds, 4 up. Bad damage. Bad abilities. +1 to cast, -1 to cast is kind of cool, but I'm used to paying 80 points for that on some tiny thing, you know, and not like a really expensive thing. As far as I can see, it only has a single job, which is giving it a Tempest Axe and fighting against massive regiments. It's not even like particularly great at doing that. I don't know what this thing is supposed to do. Doesn't it unlocks Battle Line, right? It's Chip God, the Dragon Lord? Yeah, I don't think there's a point cost that makes sense for this creature. If I gave it a point cost that made sense, it would probably be too cheap. Well, this is like a race to the bottom kind of thing. 300? I mean, at 300, you probably just take it. Well, I don't know, not even, dude. Think about a real Stormcast army in real life. Would you pay 300 to add this to it? What would you take out? Would you take out your Fulminators? Would you take out Lord Relictor plus Incanter plus 2 Battle Line? Like, would you take out your Long Strikes? Yeah, I think this is like the definition of race to the bottom, just doesn't do anything. Yeah, 400, no. He's the exact, like, perfect fucking definition of race to the bottom, has no purpose. Has no porpoise. No marine mammal. No porpoise. Lord Celestant. Speaking of, D6 attacks. Those are great. We love those. Thanks. Hey, 5 attacks, though. Dude, 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1, 2. If he's standing next to 2 other heroes, that's some damage, and a few of them might live because it's a bunch of different 3-up save heroes. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with the weapon is 6, which may happen. 2 mortal wounds, attack sequence ends. Okay. Once per battle, you can issue all-out attack without a command point being spent. Of 80. Oh, 130. Okay. Should not exist. Has no porpoise. Lord Celestant on Dracoth, aka the generic version of Vandus Hammerhand, aka Mandus Hammer. 10 move, pretty fast for a Stormcast, kinda. 7 wounds, interesting, on a 3-up. He has a Storm Blast. 4-up D3 on... Hey, that's good. 4-up D3 mortal wounds. It's fast, it's easy. It just works unless it doesn't. Good breath weapon. And then you give him... He has a Sigmarite Thunder Shield, which is a bad item. And then one of the following. Thing, or thing. Damage 3 instead of 1 if it made a charge move. I'd probably take that, right? Storm Strike Glaive. 5 attack. Just make him a Fulminator. The unmodified hit roll for an attack move, the Lightning Hammer is 6, suffers 2 mortal wounds. Yeah, but it's only 3 attacks, so no. This splits the difference. If you're trying to grind with this guy and you're risk averse and you think someone else is going to get the charge on you, then maybe take the Lightning Hammer, I guess. So he's kind of like a concussor. But hey, I'm trying to get the charge, and if I don't get the charge, then I should play better and I deserve to lose. But maybe this is just like a Beast Claw player talking. Furious Retribution. Once per battle, you can issue all-out attack for free. Good, you'll be doing that. Cleaving Blow. Add 2 attacks characteristic of Thunder Axe if the number of models the target unit is greater than the number of models in this unit, but there's only 1. Okay, so as long as he's not fighting a single guy, the Thunder Axe actually has 7 attacks. And yet they all do 1 damage, so I'll still take the Glaive. And then the hammer gets 2 bonus attacks if you charge. Yeah, I think I just take the Glaive. Oh, it has Cleave? Throw it in an Is-It deck? Yeah. This guy is a fighty hero. He's like a Fulminator hero, right? He doesn't necessarily synergize with anything. He's just like a dude who kind of fights. He gets a free thing, I guess. But I don't know, like, why would I want this? Does he used to unlock Battle Line. I don't think he does anymore. That's just a Hammer of Sigmar thing now. So did he lose his Porpoise? What's a mounted hero that can fight but has no other use? What's that worth nowadays? You know, the, what's it called? Chaos Lord on Karkadrak style dude who has, like, he has no synergy. He doesn't do anything. He just, like, fights. Like, what is that worth nowadays? What does Karkalord cost? Is Karkalord 200 right now? If Karkalord is 200, then first of all, Karkalord is too expensive, and secondly, I'll put him at 180. Hey, he's 170. Games Workshop wants you to put him on the table. I'm still not sure about it, but hey, good cost. 120 Gnash Tooth? Okay. Karkadrak at least makes Knights fuck. No, Knights fuck anyway. You know what I mean? Like, Karkadrak gets to fight at the same time as them, but they were always going to fight first. You're just, like, paying 200 for 1 more model worth of fighting. I don't know that that's worth it. They added that to a bunch of heroes, and I didn't buy it. Huh. Is this guy a shelf? Does he just not really do anything? He's even, like, pretty decent at fighting. He's got 5 attacks. 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, neg 2, 3 if he's on the charge. He has a Storm Blast. You know? But really, at the end of the day, he's a Fulminator model that happens to have the hero keyword. And so I would just buy 2 Fulminator models, even though they're much more expensive than he is. If you have 2 Fulminators worth of points to spend, you always do that instead of this guy, right? Like just 100. Yeah, and if you ever want to play 1 Fulminator and you're willing to overpay for it, kinda, just because splitting the points cost of 2 of them. Maybe I should have done that with the points. When I was guessing his points, I should have just taken a 2-man Fulminator squad and cut it completely in half and added 10 points, maybe 20. Yeah, he just doesn't really do anything. Well, no, he does stuff. He truly does. He is 1 Fulminator model for a bunch of extra points. He kind of fucks if he's on the charge. I keep trying to defend him while putting him in the shelf zone. He kind of attacks. Oh yeah, this is technically Vandus. Oh, this dude is the shelf zone. Yeah, so I'm putting him in shelf, but like he technically does something. Lord Selznadon Star Drake. Armed with Sigmarite Thunder Shield, which again isn't good. In first edition it was good, when you could add 5 to your save and reflect a mortal wound 30 times whenever you're getting attacked. You can't do that anymore. And you either have a hammer or a stormbound blade. And you choose the hammer. Because it's the pile-in one, I think. So 3-up save, upgrade. 18 wounds, 12. 4 Rain of Stars still. No bow option. Still can't fight. Pretty bad damage. This is looking like a Stonehorn Beast Rider profile with this D6 attacks bullshit. Also, my heart goes out to you, I know how that feels. Bizarro, like, casting bonus thing on hugely expensive monster when you wouldn't have the points even to be able to do that, probably. -1 is kind of good in 18, though. It's a big aura. 18 around this base is a big aura for -1 to cast. Might as well punches and kicks over here. Yeah. Swallows people whole. Up to 3 people. That's a lot of swallowing whole. Once per battle, this unit can issue a command to a friendly Stormcast holding than 12. Make Storm Drake's battle line if Jenny. What would I cost this guy at? 18 3-up is pretty durable. It's quite durable, in fact. Just has a mortal wound downside, which is the downside of all of Stormcast. The entire point. The Achilles heel on purpose, top to bottom of Stormcast, is getting mortal wounded, because your armor is insane. You don't have the anti-pile-in thing, do you? Or maybe you do. Again, I don't know what to cost this guy at. He's like a big, dumb old monster that can fly around and kind of do stuff, but I think he's supposed to grind. Is he supposed to be a grinder? I put, what did I say that Drakesworn Templar should be? 300 maybe, but like raised to the bottom? Is this guy even better? Is he even superior? Yeah, he is, because he has a 3-up save. That's why he's better. He has a downgrade actually here and there, which is a little sad, but a 3-up save is such a huge improvement. 350, I think. I think 50 points is probably worth the extra save. 350. Or 80. Okay. Okay. Race to the bottom. Has less of a job than Drakesworn, but has a 3-up save. He is kind of trash. I bet, yeah, somebody in chat mentioned that some really good player was able to do something with this guy. Congratulations. good. A sufficiently skilled player can do well with a ham sandwich in this game. It doesn't move my opinion of the monster. Hard to kill. 12-inch flying. He's like a grinder. You're just supposed to like grind with him, right? Knight Draconis. 11 wounds exactly. You hate to see it. 12-inch move, 3-up save. Draconian Flame Stream, the super rando breath weapon. But breath weapons are good because you just roll one die and you see if you do mortal wounds. That's good. Even if it is inconsistent. Arcane Heritage. Each time you use affected by a spell or the abilities of an endless spell, 4-up, ignore it. Generally, I don't rate these things very highly, but we're in the magic season. And so I still don't rate them very highly. The best spells in the game are cast on your own guys, not somebody else's. Tell us now that we are in the future. Remember when Oops All Dragons was going to destroy iOS? Yeah, they changed the ability of the dragon from once per game, go from anywhere to anywhere on the whole table. And it's not a teleport, so you can do anything and charge from anywhere. So they took that away. And then dragons were actually probably a little expensive. And the people who take dragons now just like dragons, and actually they're not bad. They might even be pretty good, but they're just totally fine. And that's the history of dragons. They had an ability that was like a teleport, except not called a teleport, so that they could ignore the limits of movement in the entirety of Age of Sigmar. And it was crazy. And then they took that away entirely and replaced it with some crap that does nothing. And now they're fine. And people play them as 2-ubs sometimes, and they're like, they can do some work actually. Pretty durable, to be honest. Random ass mortal wounds and stuff. They're just nice, man. What else we got? Once per battle in your hero phase, you can pick one friendly Storm Drake guard that can shoot. Oh, cool. Double breathies. Has to be in your hero phase. A little downside there. You can't project it elsewhere. 4-up spell ignore is nice. Yeah, for Merciless Blizzard specifically. If all else fails, would you like to take 4d6 mortal wounds? Actually, Your Honor, I would not. Okay, well, I flip this coin, I guess. That's a nice little tidbit thrown onto the Warscroll. Dragged into the Tempest in the combat phase after all this unit's attacks have been resolved. You can pick one enemy unit in one, and then slay them outright. This is good for unit champions, because in 3rd edition, in the past, a lot of the game, arguably half of the game, was about having a hero next to a unit, and your opponent was trying to break that link, and you were trying to maintain that link. And that's where a lot of the tactics of the whole game came from. And then in 3rd, every unit in the entire game is just a hero. Like, naturally. Except Stonehorn Beast Rider. And I think a Flesh Eater Card Monster or something like that. So devouring a unit champion is big value. Much bigger value than it used to be. It used to be like, ooh, I'm going to get the Banner Bearer. That'll matter. And it did. But now eating unit champions, large. Also makes Storm Drake Battleline if Jenny, and it's the most modestly priced thing that does that. So I always thought that this particular hero was too expensive, and yet, if you want to play dragons, you gotta play him. What does he cost? I can't remember what this guy costs. I literally have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. What was he? 250 maybe? 300. Okay. I had to search the memory banks for when these guys came out in the first place, and maybe it was 260 when they did or something like that. 300's a lot. I think you're technically overpaying, but it turns on an army list. It turns on a strategy, and that's what you're really paying for. You're paying for the strategy to be able to play dragons and stuff. I think 300 maybe is a little much, but hey, Beast Riders are 330, so technically Beast Riders are better than these guys. Get owned. Special Dragon. Where do we put Special Dragon? Obviously he's not in the I need to save points somewhere tier. I don't know if he's great. I guess we have to pretend. We have to consider the army list that he allows, that he enables. I think even that is probably Pet. But Pet isn't, like, bad. Is he top of Pet? This guy's probably higher in Pet, right? This guy's like a thing that very inexpensively gets you a battle tactic certain seasons, so that's like really useful sometimes. Pet unit because it enables a pet list. Yeah, it's not a bad list. It's just a pet list, that's all. And he looks dope. Cool ass looking, good shield. Yeah, he's cool. Oh yeah, they have attacks too. Ren 3, big. Looking juicy. Vandus Hammerhand. Mandus Hammermand. 9 wounds, you love to see it. Stormblast. Frost Spear attacks, except wounds on 2s, but 1 less attack. Neg 2/2, looking good on that mount attacks. Locked into hero Hammers of Sigmar, which is technically just like in a vacuum a net downside to be locked into anything, right? But Hammers of Sigmar is a pretty decent, pretty common choice, I would almost say, at this point. He has the Helden Sen, which I believe is like holding on to something. 5 attacks when he charges, hilarious. Do not use attack sequence, yeah. Do not take battle shock tests. Yeah, I wasn't going to. But I'm definitely not now. 24 radius is a gigantic aura. So this is not nothing here. A lot of Stormcast are chilling at like 6 bravery. Vengeful Determination. What's a battle shock, Heywoah? Kind of a waste of time, if I'm honest. I would personally try to avoid having to take them by, say, playing 7 monsters in a list, or playing OBR or something. Or, honestly, most armies. It's a problem that if I were writing rules for Games Workshop, I would probably have to admit that it's a problem that needs to be solved. That most people generally don't get to ignore battle shock in a whole bunch of ways. But as a player, I think we're in the best timeline. The best place to be is where battle shock and bravery technically exist, but nobody cares. And so we're living in the best time to be alive in Age of Sigmar. Someday they'll get it in their heads that they have to fix bravery and make it matter, and when it matters, you will hate it. And I will too. And everyone will complain about it forever. It's the same thing with coherency. Nobody liked spaghetti, and when they fixed it with wholly within and coherency, everyone hates it. And the 40k thing, I don't like that fix either. But I'll stop yelling at Cloud over here, and just, I hope in 4th edition they don't try to fix it. And they just allow us to keep ignoring it forever. Brandis Hammerbrand. Once per turn at the start of combat phase, you can pick a friendly Hammer Sigmar Redeemer. Add 1 attacks characteristic. Hey, alright. Redeemers are only your shitty battle line, though. But that is a synergy you could do something with and get bonus attacks with, I suppose. This guy feels like... He feels like... Where's the other guy? He's like this guy, only better. You can't give him something and he's locked in the hammers, but he has a synergy even though you probably won't use it. A big old battle shock immunity, which is cool. And he kind of slaps on the charge, I guess. 180? 190. Mandus Hammerman. He's shelf above this guy. He's like a better... This guy's like a normal Fulminator, and this guy is like a better Fulminator. As a one-of. That you probably don't want to pay for. Aventus Firestrike. Magister of Hammerhall. "12 wounds, 3 up save. Big monster, 14 flying fast. Double whizzy. Can't fight. Does the +1 to hit rolls thing. Has the stupid Cycle of the Storm ability. Auto heals D3. What was that cloak called that everybody took? Well, I shouldn't say everybody. It was some cloak that healed you for D3 in each of your hero phases or something, and a million years ago it was kind of common. Pyrolectic Blast. Cast on a 7, range of 9, super short. Pick a point, visible, everybody within 3 suffers D3. Can somebody, like, sell me on this guy? He's a double wizard with a 3-up save and a 14-inch flying move. With a hit bonus for your ranged guys. And yet, like, I think he's bad. I mean, we're a long way away from the everybody needs a monster wizard hero season. What do you do? I don't think there's a proper point cost for this guy. This hero would kill in other armies? I certainly don't want him in mine. Okay, hold on. Like, Slaves to Darkness would take this, right? Depending on the cost. A double Wizzy chilling on a good save. Kinda can't fight, though. Soul Blight, yeah, okay, yes, the 4-inch move army would take this. You are not wrong. I mean, they do take this. He's called Archon the Black. And Archon's better than this guy. So I guess they already do take Aventus. They just take the better version, which is Archon. And actually, they don't. They don't take Archon. I think Archon's better than this guy. Well, it depends on what he costs. What do you think he costs? I think he costs $340. $270? Okay. I was imagining what Games Workshop was costing him, and I'm shocked that it's close to what I think he probably should cost. And Soulblight, oh yeah, you're right, Soulblight has Zombie Dragon. I thought you said OBR, but you said SBGL, I didn't register it. So that was my bad, I misread what you said. I saw SBGL in my head, I thought OBR. Mr. Race to the Bottom. Yeah, this dude has seen some shit. Astria Soulblight. Sorry, Soulbright. Single wizard. Celeste, on the Celestial thing. She is a Lord Arcanum on Dracoline, named. Hammers of Sigmar locked. Start of the combat phase, you can pick a Hammers of Sigmar Sarcosanct unit holier than 12, add one to save rolls with for attacks made with melee weapons to target this unit until the end of the phase. Yet another save stack? Okay. And Lightning Pulse. With a range of 6 inches. Why not 4 inches? Okay, so I'm thinking in my head. You take her if you want, like, defensive cats coming in there. It's not a command ability. So you have 2-up save cats on the charge. And they're just going to live forever. Like you have Lord Arcanum on Dracoline, Astrius Soulblight, or Soulbright. And then 3 units of 3 cats as battle line if that was possible, and that would be your army. And so she charges in, makes them all 2-up save. Other guy charges in, gives them all a bonus attack with their claws. Cat spam the army. Man, a Dracoline army would be cool. Damn, anyway, yeah. Whatever the fuck Arcanum cost, but less. Most probably. Where's Arcanum boy? Alright, I scrolled past it. Pardon me. Okay, Lord Arcanum on Dracoline is 180. He has a damage ability. And you can give him stuff. And he's not locked in the Hammers of Sigmar. And so Lady... So Lady is locked in, has a defensive buff instead of an offensive buff, but it's a good one, and it stacks with everything. Like command abilities and stuff. Uses it when roared and things like that. Can't give her stuff. I think she's like worse, but not that much. If he's 170, she's 160, we call it a day. Alright, same points. I think she would like be cool if there were such an army as this. I don't see a reason to take her when this guy exists, though. I think we're shelving her. Evernon Stormsire. This is the 3 boys, the 3 dudes. Once per battle in the enemy hero phase. Auto unbind, sick. Each enemy unit within range suffers 1 mortal wound. Each within 6 suffers D3. Not great, but Voidstorm Scroll is great. So you were going to take an Incanter, but you had extra points. And so you take your Incanter, which is this guy, and you get, like, dudes in addition. Who technically have attacks. This unit is a wizard while it has 2 models. Cool, okay. And they got the Empower spell, which is +1 to wound. As the Lightning Arc, just like Evocators. I don't think I want a tiny Evocator squad. I just don't. I just don't want the tiny Evocator squad. I just want the Incanter, thanks. Especially since it's a separate unit. Points? Doesn't matter. 210? Alright. No thanks. Stormsire's Cursebreakers, I went over it. Yeah, he's a proxy Incanter. I like the other Incanter because she's a waifu, but she's, I think, kind of rare. I think that's like a custom or a special one that was the one where she's T-posing. That one looks cool, but I think it was like a temporary model or something like that. Warning, clog inbound. You have been warned. Alright, we're clogging. Crondius. and really Kare Z, because we're kind of talking about both of them, at least for a while. Yeah, she was the starter box model. You're right, Plan Mo. So this dude is a big old Disney dragon without enough armor that needs to hit the gym, but actually looks pretty cool in real life. Not gonna lie. 18 wounds, 3 up save, big. 14 flying, proper fast dragon, big. Blazing Tempest, 18-inch range breath weapon, you love to see it, but it's the stupid one of the tinier dragons. I fundamentally disagree with this. The little storm drakes have this. He should have a big version of this because he's bigger. Honestly, you should just roll d6 and that's the mortal wounds. Just be like, target within 18, roll d6. d6 mortal wounds. But I always want my dragons to be overpowered, so don't listen to me. Apex Mar. Wounds on a 1-up. Good. 4 attack, 3s and 1s. -2, 3. Ooh. Nice. Iron Gut attacks. Actually, exactly Iron Gut attacks with 4 even. So the unit champ. And then 3, 3, 3, -2, 2, which is alright. And then see below, Calamitous Tail. Attack's characteristic is equal to... Hold on. Oh, you continued it here. I see. Attack characteristic equal to the number of enemy models within 3 of the attacking model. I don't like these things. Why stop the game to measure 3 and count up however many? I would just give it a number. Or maybe when it's attacking a unit size of whatever. But that's fine. It's only one guy. It's not like everything, right? It's not like a unit of 5 Blade Masters or something. Anyway, 3s and 3s, -2, 2. So, bunch of 2 rend, bunch of multi-damage. Not like a terrific amount of attacks, but decent. Great movement. Big wounds, big save. Kind of random breath weapon that I was expecting. I expected more. I expected better. +3 to cast. Awesome. Actually awesome. Not to dispel, by the way. Or unbind even. Just to cast. Atavistic Tempest. Casting value of 9, which is technically hard to cast, but really you need to roll a 6. Range of 24, good range. Pick one enemy unit in range invisible, then pick one of the effects below. The effect lasts until your next hero phase. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by that unit. Probably won't choose that. Worsen the rend characteristic of their weapons. Probably won't choose that, but it's good. I mean, both these are good. Subtract 1 from the attacks characteristic of missile weapons used by that unit. Probably won't do that. Subtract 1 from save rolls for attacks that target that unit. We have a winner. It's that one. Did I say Ren 2? I meant Ren 3. And whoever is dogpiling that thing 24 inches away. This spell's sick. Cool spell. Not locked into a faction. You love to see it. Good spell. Really good at casting. By the way, subtract 1 from attack characteristic of melee weapons to target this unit. It's a highly good dependent. Sometimes it won't mean much, but it's a high quality defensive thing. No ward save detected. Does this kill the crab? I think you could totally play this guy for what it's worth. But it's probably like a 600 point wizard dragon that doesn't have a ward save, and so I don't know about that one. Chief. What do we point this guy at? We get to be pretty aggressive with his points cost if we want to, because it's not like he has a 5-up ward. Throw some mortal wounds at this guy and he just fucking melts, right? So we can get him at a discount. You can buy this guy at the dollar store. It's like 100 points off. What does he cost? +3 casting wizard. who's really fast, good armor, dies to mortal wounds with nothing to stop that. 500 maybe? Ahem. And I would even count this spell as synergy, kinda. Because you cast it on something and it synergizes with whatever else is going to attack that thing. He can just chill back and cast it over here. Be like, you guys get that guy. You're all Ren 3 now. I'm going to go over here and fight something I know can't do mortal wounds. And so I'm just immune to it and destroy it. I mean, you only need a 6 to cast this thing. Like Primal Dice. You don't even need Primal Dice to likely succeed. Double caster. Yeah, 500. Yeah, 520. Kron Diaz. I think this might be controversial. I think he's the top of the pet unit tier, rather than Shelf Zone or possibly race to the... He shouldn't be raced to the bottom. His Warscroll is legitimately good. It's missing a crucial thing that almost ruins it, but it's not like his Warscroll is literally bad. You know? I think he's the top of the pet unit. Everybody's gonna look at him and be like, no ward, lol, into the trash, and they're only like 69% right. And then suddenly someone actually plays him, and then 14-inch flying double wizard just chooses his battles and only fights guys that can't do mortal wounds. And then 24 inches over that way, he just gives people +1 Ren that you're gonna fight anyway. And he's kind of like, he's a little Kragnos that doesn't necessarily have synergy, kinda. And you just got, it's your job to play around his Achilles heel. Choose your targets. Keep him out of harm's way. He certainly has the move to stay out. Might not have the points to chaff him up if that's a thing, but... Wait, he's a Stormcast. You could just put him in the air, right? No, you don't want to do that because then he can't cast. Never mind, I'm wrong. Lack of ward only matters if people get those mortal wounds. I mean, the ward would also stop a bunch of normal damage, right? But in the Stormcast, you're feeling like you -1 attacks, 3-up save to start, and Stormcast can get that down real easy in a bunch of different ways, right? Because what I do with Kragnos, generally, is I play Kragnos like a Catacross, as if he were Catacross, or an aircraft carrier. He's in a central position, but kind of back. And I'm just throwing Stonehorns, like F-15s that are taking off from it. And those Stonehorns are just like killing shit that can do mortal wounds. Because if my opponent can't do mortal wounds, Kragnos is like literally invincible. And so maybe you do kind of the same thing with Krondis in a list with him. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone do this. I think it's maybe possible. I don't think he's trash, even though he has like this big downside, right? Or a big Achilles heel, I guess. I think he's pet unit. I don't care how many votes I lose. I think he's a pet unit. Especially at 520 now. I think he started at like some unbelievably high amount, like 600 something, I think is where he started. Keep him going down though. Keep going down. What do we got here? Perfect place for him. He's got a massive Achilles heel, and that hurts. His magic is also not as impressive in the current season. Yeah, right now, maybe not, but I'm thinking long term. He has some play, but he's so many points. He did well at a tournament with him last year. Oh, nice. Current poll, the better brother. Ooh, good poll. Okay. If you want to vote in the poll, do so at the top of your Twitch stream. Vote now on your phones. Who's better, Kron Diaz or Korazy? Oh, we're tied. We're tied at 50%. I'm going to vote for Chaos here. Whatever the lower one is, I'm going to vote for it, for some Chaos. And I'll let that poll go while we talk about Crazy. Same everything, except 6 attacks instead of 4. Rend 3 instead of 2. That's actually it, right? Yeah, as far as the attack profile is concerned, +2 attacks, +1 rend. That matters. Not exactly a lightweight. Dylan Universe, what's up, dude? Is that a show? Anyway, nice goose. Appreciate it. We should compare them first. Well, what we're doing is people are voting, and then we compare, and we rerun the vote and see whose hearts and minds were changed, right? Ancient Master of War, same thing. Blazing Tempest, same thing. Calamitous Tail, same thing. Fires of Vengeance. Each time this unit destroys an enemy unit, you can apply the relevant effect below. Okay? So after you have already won, you have to win first. Units with this ability, or abilities like this, where you have to kill something and then you get something, I think, without being cruel, they're all systemically bad. But I think they're all systemically fun as well, depending on what you define as fun. I think they're like flavorful, fun things that a new player reads and they think that's going to do something. And then in their games, it probably actually does. Obviously, you want it, if you're a spike, you want the unit to be at 100% power at the very beginning of the game. No spinning plates, no hoops to jump through, you just, like, want it, right? And then this thing is just like Timmy trapped the entire big sentence. But if it's so good, sometimes you can play it so that he only gets into Ironjaw's fights. This guy's a... You know, he's not Scar from the Lion King, even though he really looks like it. And he's not a Stormcast dragon. He's actually an Ironjaw unit. Except, like, the old school Ironjaw is, like, right after they got their GHB 2nd edition thing, but right before they got their next book. Where you're kind of, like, searching for fights you're guaranteed to win and won't get countercharged from. And so you just sit there leveling up and then you become impossible to deal with. Anyway, if the enemy unit was a hero or a monster, add 1 attacks of all melee weapons for the rest of the battle. That's good. If the enemy unit has wounds characters of 3 or more, and was not a hero monster, add 1 to run and charge rolls for the rest of the battle. Not too great, actually. If the enemy unit had wounds characters of 2 or less, you can heal 1 wound allocated to this unit. Also not great. This one's pretty cool, though. Every little bit counts for healing on an 18 wound 3-up save monster. Oh, I forgot to check the thing. Who won the poll? I can't bring it up. What was the poll amount? Any mod or something can check, I think. Ren 3 is a big deal. This season, this spell won't be going off as much as you might want it to. Specifically this season, I guess. But +2 attacks, and all of them Ren 3 is a big deal. That's significant. Still no wards, same huge Achilles heel. Crazy 1, 10-9. Okay. And then Fires of Vengeance, where if you do the cool thing and kill like a monster or a hero, this guy levels himself up and becomes the hilarious Timmy monster forever, right? And if you kill anything else, kinda it doesn't matter unless you do it probably twice or something. Even then. Am I don't know. I feel 2 ways about this guy. I think people underestimate 6 attacks. At, let's be honest, 2s and 2s, Ren 3, damage 3. And how much of an upgrade that really is from 4 attacks. 2s and 2s, Ren 2, damage 3. and what happens if you fail to cast this, you know? But also, I think this is like a gigantic Timmy trap kind of thing that at best probably affects your gameplay in such a way where you kind of you're like obliged to go attack this thing or that thing. Sometimes it like chooses your target priority for you, I think, a little bit. I don't know about that one. Does this guy shred enough that he can just kill shit right out the gates? Let's see. 6 attacks, 2s and 2s. So he hits with 4 of them. Possibly even, well, if my opponent's rolling, he hits with 6 of them. If I'm rolling, I hit with 4. So we'll say 4.5. And then Ren 3, damage 3. You're doing like 12, maybe 9. 4 Ruinous Tails. 2s and 2s. Ren 2, damage 2. So another 3. You're doing like 15 damage or something, maybe 14 maybe. Depending, like 14. That's pretty good. And it can go through armor. Not stacked armor, but it can go through armor. You're gonna roar something. It's Games Workshop. Do you think they costed them the same? Alright, I'm playing some Insider Baseball. I bet they're both 520. No! Wrong. Absolutely wrong. He's more expensive. Alright, he's 530. Which one's better? So what do you do? You do like 14 damage, and you're very fast. Right? You have a bunch of rend, very consistent, and you're very fast. Die to mortal wounds, but alright. So he's really just a 500 point hammer. 4 fulminators as a translocator, like way better though, right? But then again, that's with a mage that's probably getting his Warscroll changed as soon as Cities comes out, so that's different. I think if you're looking for a unit that can just murder shit, you have a lot more options than crazy. I don't know that you have faster options, because 14 flying is really good. But you have options that are going to do literally 5 times his damage for less or fewer points. Crazy might be better than Krondys, but I think he's Shelf and Krondys is Pet. Paradoxically. I think you can play around this guy's disadvantage, and this is just a big stupid hammer, and you got a lot of big stupid hammers. You don't have a lot of +3 to cast weird wizards that are kind of like Eidolon of the Sea. This is like the Stormcast Eidolon of the Sea almost. Alright, well, if anybody wonders about this tier list, both of these should go down by like 75, and there's a long explanation, I guess. Just take both. No. I mean, hey, you could. Dude, I bet someone could take both of these and, like, play against me on TTS and just win. I bet it could happen. It could totally happen. Let's not lose sight of stuff like that during tier lists. Anyway, Guard is Steel Soul. Friendly Hallowed Knight units holier than 12 have a ward of 5 up. Look. Get it out. Get it out. It's supposed to be your weakness. It's okay to have a weakness. Anyway. It's Hallowed Knight only, I guess. Holier than 12. Roll dice if this unit is destroyed. 2 up, you can fight. Cool, you can do 2 damage. Maybe 4. 2 damage. I want to play Beast Claw with dragons. That's not like a bad thing. If you're like, damn, I want to play Beast Claw, but dragons, that's cool. I can't make fun of that. That sounds sweet. Saintly Assault. Reroll charges. Add 1 to tax characteristic. That, okay. Sick. How could they print both of these on one man's Warscroll? What should he cost? Like 200 actually, if we're considering force multiplication, I guess. I don't know. Stupid D6 attacks. I don't know what this guy costs. He's trapped in Hollowed Knights. That might be a bad thing. I don't know if that subfaction is good or not anymore. I think briefly it was because of this guy. If you're trying to just stand somewhere and grind, it's probably like the best grinder thing army maybe in the game. One of them. At least in that location. 5-up ward, giga damage buff. Holy shit, everything's sick. Like, if it wasn't for this guy, the subfaction would suck. 200 probably. Yeah, 160, okay. I tend to value force multiplication like really high. And I probably value it too high. I don't think you do that. Some people were doing that before, but it really is an actual Death Star just waddling into the center of the table and being like, please fight us. Would someone please fight us? And if your list features like one good pinning unit, then you just like pin them. And then you're like Captain Hook and the Lost Boys, just running in a circle around the island, just doing whatever you want, and then they're sitting there churning away. It's not like actually a good strategy, but it's a tempting and strong looking one, and it actually really is. If your opponent really does have to just fight you, he probably loses. It's kind of like OBR in a can. This one guy is like OBR the army almost. Does Gardas give his ward to Big Bro Dragons? Yeah, as long as they're in Hollowed Knights. The problem is, one of the reasons you're taking the dragons is because they have 14 flying move. And my man Gardas is not going to keep up with him. He is hobbling. If you're straight 6 running every single turn, then maybe he just about keeps up with them. Like that's the problem. Wait for me, guys. Now he can land. Where's the... Do we say great butt? Great, but it's kind of a trap and actually really slow, and there's all these downsides with it that you wouldn't think. Because, like, the words printed on his Warscroll are undeniably powerful. Technically, this is only heroes, so actually this sucks. But, like, the shit that he does is, like, powerful, but the army you would end up playing with him isn't. Well, depending. Yeah, he can deep strike and land in the right spot. For that battle round, probably. I don't think he counts as a pet unit. He's not saving points. Maybe this tier just doesn't matter. Because it's only this guy. Right? This tier is only this guy. Maybe this was a poorly thought out tier. Look, if you enable something that isn't that good, are you good? We're getting philosophical here. Fee-Monk. Thanks to the tier 1 for 27 months. Currently on a 16-month streak. Hey, I got fun, Contente thing that I'm working on. It's a GW unit name quiz designed for a content round. Hey, no problem. Finish it up, DM me, and I'll pull it out when there's no news to talk about. Thanks a lot, Femonk. I can already imagine it. Okay, what are the 3 maggot lords called in Nurgle? Bloabrot spawned. And Orgot's Daemon Spew. And, ooh, what's that third one? Hold on. What's the third one again? Or like, we'll do like a Fire Slayers one, where it shows 4 different Fire Slayers foot units, and you have to drag the name of all of them correctly. Or like all the different Stormcast or something. Is it kind of like that? That would be fun. Yeah, there's Bloabrot spawned. There's Orgot's Daemon Spew. And then... Shit, what's the third one? Gurtog Bloodboil? No, wait, that's the boss in Black Temple. Morbidex Twice Born, that's it. It was somewhere in the memory bank, so I just had to search for it. I got magnetic tape up here. Remember that one day that I almost successfully remembered the name of one Fire Slayer unit? Not quite. You give me the name, and I have to guess what faction from AOS or 40k it's from, or if it's fake. Okay. I think that'll be good, because I don't know too much about 40k, and so it'll give a lot of opportunities to be wrong in funny ways. I like that. We got Neve Blacktalon. She can teleport. Nothing else she does matters in any way. 100? Yeah, 110. Technically you teleport, so... Hold up. Hold up. Can I do this? Hold up. How about you have one job and it's sometimes okay? So like something that can score a battle tactic easily during a particular season or something like that. Is this cheating? And if it's too silver bullety, then it's actually just bad and we judge it based on that. Because this really is probably the order that you would take stuff in. Like S tier, great bot. You might take it some season for a battle tactic, but otherwise the thing's bad if you didn't, you know? And then pet units, and then just varying levels of bad. You think it's cheating? I'm willing to listen. I'll listen to... When you make the rules, it's hard to cheat. Well, I think this is a discussion. I'll listen. This is the Roman court. Name a Fire Slayer. Godric. Failed. He's not a Fire Slayer. I can't believe that he's not a Fire Slayer, actually. Why didn't they put him in that army book? Blows my mind. Anyway, so then we can technically put that guy up here too. Shelf zone. Because he's wearing pants. True, he does look cooler. Nice. Oh, hi, Mark. Gabriel Shearhart. No alteration, by the way. This is just what the model looks like. This guy used to do something really cool. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with stopped reading there, you can reroll charge rolls in addition once per turn. This unit can issue forward to victory. This used to give what, +3 to charge? Did it in the before time? Was it 2 or 3 flat bonus to charge with this guy? He used to be somebody. He used to be a contender, and now he's just some fucking. Now he's some guy in a room. Cheating? No, okay? Locked in the hammers. 80? Alright, 110. Should not exist. I don't actually think it's in the race to the bottom. It's actually... He has no purpose. They stole his job. He has no job. He's homeless. He's literal homeless. Next. My man. Lord Commander Striker Pentecost, aka Bastion Car Thalos, aka Bastion Truck Thalos, aka Lord Commander Bo Jackson, the greatest athlete in baseball. My only complaint is that his model isn't physically larger on the tape. He should have been bigger. This guy is 8'13", alright? Today we are canceling the apocalypse. 8 wounds, 3 up save, a ponderous 6-inch move, Uskavar the Thunderer, 2-inch range, 4 attacks, 3s and 2s, -2, 4. That's a big hammer. Oh yeah, Stacker Pentecost, not Striker. As in stacking plates, right? Like, yeah. Point of order, 4 attacks is too few. He should have 6. Once per turn in your hero phase, you can pick 1 enemy unit on the battlefield and roll a number of dice equal to its wound characteristic, and if it's a Mega Gargant, you have a big old smile on your face. And if it's not, it's still fucking awesome. Like, Thunderbolt is great. This ability is awesome. It's even good if your opponent has literal nothing with more than 6 wounds. It's still, like, kinda good. At that point, it's just as good as Frost Wreath Ice, except with infinite range. You know? Castellan of Azir. At the start of the first battle round, you can play balls and cups with your deployment, which sometimes is really good. You can even do this in a non-Hammers of Sigmar army, actually, and just move him. Obviously, it's best if it's a hammer, but you can play him in a non-Hammers of Sigmar army and just redeploy him. Because what does he want to do? He wants to fight massive regiments and just wade through them and stay at full life forever while bolting something across the table. And so you kind of want him across from their units of dudes. And so you finish deploying and you're like, okay, I'm going to put my Bastion right across from your fucking 10-man unit or whatever that he's immune to. 4-up ward. Now we're talking. Impossible shoulders. 4-up ward. This guy does flies all day long. Voice of Thunder. Once per turn, you can issue a command to Hammers Sigmar unit anywhere on the battlefield without a command point being spent. That's great. Again, even if it's just him, it's great. I have to get a command trait for this. And then Mantle of the First Storm. At the end of a phase, if any enemy models are slain by him, heal to full. That's sweet. I think 4 attacks is a touch too few. I would have liked to see 5 or 6. And he's always been way too expensive, like every single Stormcast. Like, they have Giga Chad Stormcast heroes, right? They're all like 300 points. It includes Celston Prime, it includes Lady Andrasta, it's Bastion Carthelos. They got 8 wounds, they got 4 up wards. They're supposed to be Giga Chads, they all cost 300, and they just totally shouldn't. I consider this guy like a... like an Eltharion, like a Sigvald, like 1/3 of a Gotrek, you know, and should cost about that. Two something for sure. I don't know, man. This is off the top of my head. He's unique as well. You can't spam him, right? 220, 230, something like that. Yeah, he's 300. I'm going aggressive with 220, obviously, but like he should be somewhere mid 200s at the highest, I think. He's still actually cool at 300, but he's like definitely up. Do you think he's a pet unit, or do you guys think he's actually not great? He was really good one season and then he dropped off for various reasons. I just think he's too damn expensive. For me, he's a pet unit, but there's nothing like terrifically wrong with his Warscroll. It's just 300 is nuts for these 3 final ones. They shouldn't even be able to smell 300 points from where they're sitting at, and yet they do. Especially because you can only play one of all of them. They're unique. There's no normal version where you're like, ooh, if he's 220, I can play 3 of them. No, you can't. They're all unique, right? Safe from spamming. You would like to see him. He slams. He does. 4 is too few up here, though. There's a lot of combats where he does 4 damage total. And you feel like he should be doing more than 4, but actually that's probably about what you can expect. I feel like he should, I don't know, fucking MC hammer people. Just hammer down. As a Gargan player, you'd like to keep never seeing him? Yeah, probably. I mean, he's bad for me, too. I got all of my dudes are like 16, 17 wounds. Obviously, he's better against you with 35. Possibly 40 if you're using King Big. Lady Andrasta. People played her, and everybody was really excited about her when she came out. And so I just listened to the Stormcast players who all said she was amazing in the monster season. And then I played against her one time in the monster season. And she like charged one of my monsters and just did nothing, and then I killed her. And I'm like, oh. Sometimes you gotta see things play out on the table. And you're like, this bitch doesn't do anything. Like, you just kill her. Alright. She looks awesome. What a great model. It wasn't like a really high... This isn't outcome... This isn't really outcome focused necessarily either. It wasn't like, ooh, I rolled crazy, you know? It wasn't anything like that. Getting through her reward kind of sucked, but, you know... Anyway, she can fly. 8 wounds, 3 up, 12-inch flying, that's great. 4 up ward, that's great. Monsters are slightly worse at fighting her, which I guess depending on the army and the monsters either kind of sucks for you, or you can kind of ignore it actually. Like, not that great. Once per turn in your hero phase, you can return 1 Stormcast to 1 unit. No, each friendly Stormcast unit older than 12. So she has like this AoE kinda rally thing, but it's just 1. Wins characteristic of 3 or less. Did not take battle shock test for friendly Stormcast and cities wholly within 12. Alright. She has one, like, this weapon is good, but then the profiles end. Right? Like, she goes four very good attacks, and then I'm expecting, like, more of them, and it just stops. She, whatever Eltharion costs, probably, because she's faster than him. 260, okay. She's kind of schizophrenic. She's just all over the place. She's all over the place. This thing is good with troops. This thing is good with big body bruisers. On units that aren't wiped out, this thing is kind of alright against monsters, but is not good at killing monsters. She's supposed to like tar pit monsters. But you don't really want to tar pit monsters, because if you're tar pitting a monster on an objective, it's out capturing you. And she's reasonably good at not dying. She's just like kind of okay at a bunch of random shit. She is like princess race to the bottom. She's in race to the bottom. Her Warscroll is just kind of bad and eclectic. It's all over the place. And it needs to go back in the oven. It's not done yet. Booyah Tiro. Thanks for the big prime. I appreciate it for 3 months. TY. Thanks for the prime. Or boot Euro, I mean, pardon me. Cream. Alright, damn, I want some Klondike bars now. Anyway, thanks for listening to the ad. For Klondike ice cream, circa 1988 or something like that. We got one more hero ahead of us. Twitch Prime. Speaking of Twitch Prime, Troll Bear Cat. Speaking of Prime, we got Prime Time, the Celestin Prime. Celly P, as no one says. Anyway, Troll Bear Cat, thanks for the 2-month big primer. I want you to think some of these heroes suffer from having to compete with 20 other heroes. Quite a bit. Yeah, 39 heroes is 20 heroes minimum too many for how young this game is. Like, restraint isn't in the dictionary for this shit. Bloated nonsense. And this is the new player army. Right? Gosh darn, golly gee, I'm a new player. Hey, Stormcast are the heroes. That's the army for me, right? And you open up the battle tome, and there's 16 pages, possibly 19 pages of heroes, and you're like, I mean, this is you, right? Immediate analysis paralysis. You don't know what's going on. There's 100 Warscrolls in the goddamn book. You're drowning. You're like treading water. And then once you learn stuff, you're like, oh, okay, so I take these 5, and then 30 of them, I have no idea why they even printed them, right? Like, it's kind of silly. So yeah, it got out of control, and it hasn't necessarily been reined in. They stopped printing so many Stormcast all the time, but I don't know, it's sort of like every single edition, the Stormcast gets 6 new boxes to buy, and 6 new Warscrolls to print in the next Stormcast book. Forever. It worked for them really well with Space Marines. I don't know how well it's working with Stormcast. I don't know their books. It's probably working very well. It's kind of annoying for the game, though. It legitimately irks you that Galmaraz does less damage than Bastion's Rando Hammer. Yeah, but I don't think that's Bastion's problem, right? I think Bastion's Hammer, if anything, doesn't have enough attacks, and 4 damage is proper for it. I think the problem is Galmaraz, not Bastion. This weapon just fucking sucks. It's so lame. I know lore, people, I know. Galmaraz, the lore of it is it's a magical focusing iris of power. And it scales it scales with whatever strength, not physical strength, but like power level. It scales with the power level of whoever's holding it. That's why Galmaraz is so good. And also it can purify people when you hit them. Like you hit them and their soul just like blasts out of the back of their body and goes all the way to the forge, right? That's sweet. What it means is the Sultan Prime is like an absolute chode. Like he's a pud. If this thing scales with the power level of the person who's holding it, the Sultan Prime is a fucking noodle. He's a noodle. Get another one. Get somebody else. I clapped. It's the Warhammer from the Warhammer games, yeah. Get Bastion to swing it? True, yeah. We need some fan fiction. We need Bastion Carthalos dual-wielding Galmaraz and his normal hammer riding Krondis. Somebody make it happen. Give me that Warscroll. Maybe for Legends. Anyway, he's an 8-12-3. He has the Comet Strike Scepter, which is this is a decent ass ability. 24-inch, pick a point, ignores the targeting stuff. Everybody within 3. D3, you don't have to roll for it. Usually only gets 1 guy, maybe gets 2 guys. If you're insane-o lucky, maybe sometimes 3. But that Comet Strike Scepter, that's good. Retribution on high. Yeah, Stormcast already do this, so this guy's like overtly written not for Stormcast, but for every other army in order. And it's like really blatant. And you have to stay up in the sky to make the hammer good. Oh, how do I feel about this? Players using their brain and being like, damn, I got a choice to make. Here's my skill expression. Here's a risk versus reward. I could keep him in the air to power up his hammer, which is like a tempting Timmy thing, or I could have him on the battlefield affecting the game. And the longer I wait, the more phantom points deficit I'm in, and blah, so that kind of thing is like good for players to do. But not necessarily when, no matter what they choose, it's disappointing. So yeah, I don't like it. Ori Celestial Fats. Once per turn, you can just assign 6s. That shit's fun and cool. He has D6 knee pads, so it, the model's telling a story, right? And he has a 4-up ward. That's cool. He's good, but only in other armies. Yeah, and I don't know. In the modern era, does anybody actually want this guy? People played him in the past in other armies sometimes before, but that was like, some armies didn't have rules yet, some of their rules are really bad. I think nowadays people's armies are like good, and they're not trying to pay 300 points for a deep striker who like kind of sucks. I could be wrong though. Maybe he'll find a home in Cities of Sigmar or something like that, I don't know. Yeah, he's like the melee assassin that is closest to being able to do his job. because you can auto 12 a charge, right? You can get him in there, and he flies. So you can wait a long time, and then land somewhere, auto box cars, get in there, and get whatever. 7 attacks, 2s and 2s, Ren 3, damage 3, and just like blast somebody. But you did nothing with 300 of your points for maybe the majority of the game. And I don't know if that's worth it. You suffered under the... You were like... Suffered under the boot heel of whatever thing you wanted to assassinate for an hour and 20 minutes before you finally dealt with it. You could probably deal with it naturally if you just used those 300 points from the start of the game almost. A lot of times dropping him right away and just using the scepter over and over is the way. I don't know, what would I cost this guy at? It's hard to say. He's literally designed for other armies. And so it's hard to balance because he could go in any of 9 different armies. 260? Oh, he's 330, okay. I thought 260 might even be a... Yeah, alright. I didn't know he went up. I thought he was going down. Should not exist. Do something else. How about make the leader of your entire fucking faction good for the army that you printed him in? Stormcast can already ally with every other army. You got your LARPing out of the way there. Anyway, I'm not bitter. Here, let me show everything on the same screen for clipping. Alright, in S tier, across the whole game, mind you, we have Knight Incantor, the cheapest wizard ever that auto-unbinds once a game, and their Warscroll spell's alright. Amazing. Lord Relictor, the foot hero who essentially defined Stormcast Eternals for 3 editions. Almost infallible praying and teleporting. And the start of many a Stormcast list. Most a Stormcast list. And Knight Castellan. The Stacker. If there was a Stacker Pentecost, it's this guy. He's stacking plates. And he's stacking armor plates. Free, automatic, no dice rolling, no interacting, no unbinding. Great range, actually. +1 armor. Set it and forget it. Pretty expensive now because he's so good, but there's a reason why. This guy turns on a build. This guy could turn on a build if things had battle line and actually the Warscroll is just really good. So great, but there's kind of no place for him, but there could be. These guys' abilities are strong, but the army you build out of them has some problems and looks stronger than it is, I would say. And this guy's kind of keyword locked. Into fun. And then we have you have 1 job and it's sometimes okay. You want to be a Lord Relictor, but you don't quite have that 50 extra points and you want to cheat something else into your army and you're willing to give up a lot of power for it. But you might still do it. To cast Translocate. You want someone who's very inexpensive and technically teleports to capture something for a battle tactic in a particular season if it wants that. And that's kind of all these. Except this one's a little more expensive and is a wizard. And you have pet units, which are all probably too expensive, just all of them. Probably too expensive. And there's something wrong with all of them in maybe kind of a big way. But they're totally playable, still cool. Your opponent will generally underestimate you and might suffer for it. AKA memes. You have the Shelf Zone, similar to Pet Unit, but just worse. Or more irrelevant, or there's something that's just better. And probably too expensive on top of it. And then you have Race to the Bottom, whose Warscrolls are just trash, and you can't make them cheap enough to be useful. Despite one person doing well with some of them once, you know? and then should not exist. Just pure bloat, a waste of time. You could throw these in the garbage and the book would be better and more streamlined and cleaner. And there we go. Stormcast Hero. Tier list, all 39.